Before this tournament began, almost nobody believed Cape Verde had any chance of making history. They were seen as the weakest team in one of the toughest groups at the World Cup. With a population of just over 500,000 people spread across a group of small islands in the Atlantic Ocean, they were drawn against football giants Spain and Uruguay, two former world champions, along with Saudi Arabia. Most football fans and experts looked at the group for only a few seconds before deciding Cape Verde would finish at the bottom. Many believed they would lose all three matches, gain valuable experience, and head home. To many people, simply qualifying for the World Cup was already their greatest achievement. But football has a way of surprising everyone, and Cape Verde proved that predictions on paper do not always decide what happens on the pitch. 3 matches later, Cape Verde had shocked the football world. They did not lose a single game and finished second in their group, earning a place in the knockout rounds. They finished ahead of Uruguay and Saudi Arabia, something very few people thought was even possible before the tournament started. It became one of the biggest underdog stories the World Cup has ever seen. A country with such a small population had managed to stand shoulder to shoulder with some of the biggest football nations in history. The size of Cape Verde's achievement becomes even more impressive when you look at the numbers. The country is made up of 10 small islands located off the west coast of Africa, with a population of around 525,000 people. That is smaller than many cities around the world. They became the 3rd smallest nation ever to qualify for a World Cup and the smallest country in tournament history to reach the knockout stage. It was an achievement that seemed almost impossible. A nation that could fit inside a corner of many major cities had managed to compete with football powers that have millions of people and generations of football tradition behind them. The difference in financial value between Cape Verde and the other teams made their success even more unbelievable. Reports comparing the market value of every squad showed an enormous gap. France's squad was valued at around $1.76 billion, England at $1.58 billion, Spain at $1.42 billion, and Portugal at $1.17 billion. Every one of those teams had players worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Cape Verde, however, sat at the very bottom of the list with a squad valued at only $63.2 million. Spain's squad alone was worth more than 20 times as much. On paper, Cape Verde looked completely outmatched. Their players were not global superstars or expensive signings. Many played in smaller leagues and received little international attention. Yet none of that mattered once the matches began. Their first game came against Spain, the reigning European champions and one of the favorites to win the entire tournament. Spain was filled with stars from top clubs like Barcelona and Real Madrid, and many experts expected them to dominate from the opening whistle. Instead, Cape Verde delivered a disciplined and organized performance that frustrated their famous opponents for the entire match. Spain controlled about 74% of possession and fired 27 shots, but they simply could not find a way past Cape Verde's defense. Standing at the heart of that incredible effort was 40-year-old goalkeeper Vozinha, who produced one brilliant save after another. It was not just luck. Cape Verde defended with patience, stayed compact, and refused to lose their shape. Even though the match ended 0-0, many people still dismissed the result as a one-time surprise. They claimed Spain had simply been rusty and that Cape Verde would soon come back down to earth. The second match against Uruguay changed that opinion completely. This time, Cape Verde did much more than defend. They attacked with confidence and showed they were not afraid of one of the most successful football nations in history. Kevin Pina scored Cape Verde's first ever World Cup goal with a stunning long-range free kick, sending their fans into celebration. Uruguay responded quickly with 2 goals before halftime, taking a 2-1 lead. Most people expected the fairy tale to end there. Instead, Cape Verde fought back once again. Helio Varela took advantage of a poor back pass from Uruguay, calmly rolled the ball into an empty net, and equalized. Rather than sitting back and hoping to survive, Cape Verde matched Uruguay's determination and showed incredible belief. That performance proved the opening draw against Spain had not been an accident. The football world finally realized this team deserved respect. The final group match against Saudi Arabia was less exciting, but it was just as important. The game was physical, tense, and filled with hard tackles rather than beautiful football. Clear scoring chances were rare, although Cape Verde created the better opportunities. Goalkeeper Vozinha once again made several key saves to keep another clean sheet. When the final whistle blew, the match ended 0-0. Even then, the players did not know if they had qualified for the knockout stage. They gathered around a single phone on the pitch to watch the final minutes of the other group game between Spain and Uruguay. Cape Verde needed Uruguay to avoid winning. When Spain secured a 1-0 victory, the celebrations began immediately. Players fell to the ground in tears, hugged one another, and celebrated a moment their country would never forget. On their very first World Cup appearance, they had reached the knockout rounds. Their group stage record was remarkable. 3 matches, 3 draws, 0 defeats, and a second-place finish in one of the toughest groups in the tournament. Drawing every game does not usually guarantee qualification, but this time it was enough. More importantly, they earned those results through hard work, smart tactics, and unwavering determination. Some people have suggested that Cape Verde only reached this stage because FIFA expanded the World Cup to 48 teams. That argument misses the point. Expanding the tournament may have created more opportunities to qualify, but it did not help them earn draws against Spain and Uruguay or keep 3 clean sheets. They still had to face world-class players, stay organized under pressure, and perform when it mattered most. Their success was built on teamwork, discipline, courage, and belief. Cape Verde reminded the football world that heart, determination, and unity can sometimes overcome money, reputation, and history. Their unforgettable journey has become one of the greatest underdog stories the World Cup has ever witnessed. Many people have tried to explain Cape Verde's incredible World Cup run by saying it only happened because FIFA expanded the tournament to 48 teams. However, that argument ignores everything this team has achieved. Cape Verde did not receive special treatment or benefit from an easy path. They earned their place by performing well long before the World Cup even started. During the African qualifiers, they finished at the top of their group ahead of Cameroon, one of Africa's most successful football nations and a team with far more World Cup experience. They did not squeeze through a last-minute playoff or qualify because of luck. At the World Cup, they also avoided depending on third-place rankings to stay alive. Instead, they finished second in their group without losing a single match. Every point they collected came through hard work, smart tactics, and determination. Their achievement is even more historic than many people realize. Cape Verde became only the 3rd African nation to go through the group stage unbeaten in its very first World Cup appearance. They also became the first African debut team to reach the knockout rounds since Ghana achieved the same feat in 2006. These records were not handed to them. They were earned through disciplined performances against teams that most people expected to beat them easily. Their success is not a lucky accident. It is the result of careful planning, excellent coaching, and players who never stopped believing in themselves. Much of the credit belongs to their head coach, Bubista. Throughout the tournament, he remained calm and confident, even when almost everyone outside the team doubted them. After securing qualification, he proudly wrapped himself in the Cape Verde flag and shared a simple message that perfectly described his team's journey. He said, "We are a small country, but we fight for the things we want to achieve." Those words reflected everything the squad had shown on the field. Before the tournament, Bubista told his players that everyone has the right to dream and that nothing is impossible if they work together. Instead of just talking about those ideas, his team went out and proved them in front of the entire world. His philosophy was built on belief rather than excuses. He understood that Cape Verde could never compete with the richest football nations by matching their financial power. Instead, his players had to rely on teamwork, organization, courage, and discipline. According to Bubista, once the referee blows the whistle, the price of a player's transfer fee no longer matters. What matters is effort, concentration, and the desire to win. Cape Verde turned those words into reality. They showed that a united team can compete with opponents filled with stars worth hundreds of millions of dollars. If one player has become the face of this unforgettable story, it is goalkeeper Vozinha. At 40 years old, he has become one of the biggest surprises of the entire tournament. His journey makes his success even more inspiring. Unlike many famous footballers who became professionals as teenagers, Vozinha did not turn professional until he was in his mid-20s. Last season, he was playing in Portugal's second division, far away from the global spotlight. There was even a time when he almost walked away from international football after being left out during a disappointing Africa Cup of Nations qualifying campaign. Many players would have given up after such setbacks, but he stayed patient and continued working hard. Today, his life has completely changed. His outstanding performances have turned him into an international hero almost overnight. Millions of football fans around the world have started following him on social media. Supporters now arrive at stadiums carrying huge banners with his face printed across them. Some paint the letters of his name across their chests, while others wave homemade signs that read, "In Vozinha we trust." The level of support has been incredible. Just a few days earlier, fans in the same stadium had been cheering loudly for Cristiano Ronaldo. This time, many of them were chanting the name of a goalkeeper who spent most of his career playing outside the world's biggest leagues. That is one of the most remarkable parts of this story. There was also an emotional family moment that touched many fans. Vozinha's mother, Ana Candida Avora, was finally able to watch her son play from the stands. She had sadly missed his unforgettable performance against Spain because of visa problems. This time everything had been sorted out, and she proudly sat in the stadium holding a small Cape Verde flag while thousands of supporters celebrated her son's name. For any parent, watching their child succeed on such a huge stage is unforgettable. For her, after everything they had been through, it was an especially meaningful moment. After another outstanding performance, Vozinha summed up his team's spirit with a simple but powerful message. He said, "We are small, but we have big hearts, and we are fighters." Those words captured exactly why Cape Verde has become one of the most loved teams in the competition. He also wanted to send a message to everyone who believed Cape Verde's players were not good enough to compete at the highest level. This tournament, he said, was their chance to prove they belonged among the world's best, and they have done exactly that. Even the team's uniforms tell a story of determination. While most World Cup teams wear kits made by giant sports companies like Nike, Adidas, or Puma, Cape Verde is dressed by Capelli Sport, a much smaller company based in New York. The business was founded by a Lebanese immigrant who arrived in the United States during the 1980s and slowly built the company from a small basement in Brooklyn. In many ways, the partnership between Cape Verde and Capelli Sport is a perfect match. Both have built their success by overcoming challenges and refusing to give up. The team's blue jerseys also include a unique triangular design inspired by the flight paths connecting Cape Verde's islands. The pattern represents unity and connection, reminding everyone that although the islands are separated by the ocean, they stand together as one nation. Now the challenge becomes even greater. Waiting for Cape Verde in the round of 32 is defending world champion Argentina, led by Lionel Messi. On paper, it looks like one of the biggest mismatches imaginable. The reigning champions, filled with world-class talent, will face the smallest nation ever to reach this stage of the World Cup. Most people expect Argentina to win comfortably. That is the logical prediction. But then again, almost every prediction about Cape Verde has been wrong so far. Midfielder Doi Duarte perfectly captured the team's attitude after qualification. He admitted the whole experience still feels like a dream. He knows Argentina will be an incredibly difficult opponent, but he also believes anything is possible in football. Defender Pico Lopez shared the same confidence, saying that Cape Verde had earned their place through their performances and deserved to compete with the world's best teams. They are not satisfied just reaching the knockout rounds. They want to keep proving that they belong. That is what makes this story so special. A nation with only around 525,000 people, a goalkeeper from the Portuguese second division, a squad valued at just over $63 million, and a small sportswear company have all come together to create one of football's greatest underdog stories in recent years. Before the tournament, many teams expected Cape Verde to be an easy 3 points. Now they are one of the toughest opponents left in the competition and a team that football fans around the world cannot stop cheering for. One supporter in the crowd held up a sign that summed up the entire journey in just 4 words: "Small islands, big dreams." As they prepare to face Messi and Argentina, one question remains. Can the Blue Sharks produce one more unforgettable upset, or has this incredible fairy tale finally reached its final chapter?